Okay, well, we are at 7:01 and we have a really busy meeting today, so I'm going to hit the bell and get us started. Good morning, everyone. I am going to do something that I'm supposed to do here. Let's try this. Okay. Oops. So can you see my screen and what are you seeing?
We see your PowerPoint, but not in presentation mode.
Perfect. All right, so now it's official. Welcome. So I want to introduce any guests and visiting Rotarians. We have a few people here, so if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. I know, Vicki, you want to introduce yourself? I know you're here.
Sure. My name is Vicki Roster, and used to live in Wyoming and Eureka in Arcata, and now I live in Wyoming, and I'm friends with Sarah, and I was a Peace Corps many months ago in Thailand, and I've been back with friends, and I found an orphanage there, and I've been helping the orphanage, and so are you guys. You guys have helped them a few times.
Okay, and we'll hear more from you in a few minutes, hopefully. And Vicki, your sound, there's something with your sound. I'm not sure.
If you did raise your hand. Oh.
And then Jesse, I saw you here. You want to introduce yourself?
Is it better now? Because sometimes if it stops.
Yeah, that's better now. And then that will be good for when you give a bit more information when we come to that part of the program. That's much better. Jesse, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, sure. Jesse Olmos, and yeah, hoping to join here soon.
And what's the name? Who's your dog?
This is my dog Tucker.
All right.
I startled him awake there.
Yeah, well, he's had a word or two to say too. We also have our two speakers who will be presenting to us later in the program, but you guys want to just say hello? Dr. Spoor?
Sure. My name is Doreen Spoor. I'm the Executive Director of Arcata House Partnership.
Great. And Jeff?
Hello, good morning. My name is Jeff Davis. I work with the City of Eureka, and I oversee the CAPE and the Uplift Eureka programs.
Great. Thank you. Now, are there any other guests with us? Those are the folks I was able to see. Are there any other folks here with us today?
I'm here. Sarah
Hi,
James.
Sarah.
Hi. Hey.
Great. Great. Thank you. Anybody else? All right.
I'm Maggie. I'm still technically a guest.
Hi, Barbara. Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome. Good morning. All right. Great. Okay. Thank you. Wanted to throw this out again for us to remember about the Rotary Vision. And reminder that Tuesday we have a board meeting and you're all welcome to attend. I thought I sent the invite out. Did anybody think or thought they got it? Barbara, you remember getting it? Did anybody else see that in their world? So take a look. I'm pretty sure I sent it to everybody. So that was probably a few days ago. And you'll be getting the list of committees and descriptions soon, so watch for that. We would love to have everybody be on a couple committees, and some committees aren't as active this year, so if you're on those, we'd love to have you jump to a different one for a while. put your energy into that. The fundraising committees always can use your support at this point. So please take a look at all of those. We're going to jump right into it. We've got a busy schedule. So we've got a craft talk from Stephanie. And Stephanie, I think if I stop sharing my screen, then you can share yours. So
Sure.
I will do that, and I will turn it over to you.
Great. Let's see. I think that we'll be sharing here momentarily. Can everybody see that? Okay, cool. Well, because I know we have a super packed meeting today, I'm going to try to be brief, but we'll just get started. Let's see, is everyone's picture in the way? Do I need to do that? Okay. Okay, so I was born and raised here in Eureka, and I'm one of the few from my era to stick around. I was really fortunate to grow up in this area. Every time I travel and I come home to Humboldt, there's nothing wants to draw me away. And so I really love being around all the nature and all of the sense of community that we have here. I think it was a really, really wonderful place to grow up. There's a picture there of my parents, Doug and Doreen Lane. My father was a rural mailman for a majority of his career in the Elk River and parts of Lower Mitchell Road and Freshwater. So he got to ride around in his own truck and check out the animals and see everyone in the country. It was a pretty great job. He'd take me on rides on Sunday when a new sheep had been born or a cute animal he'd seen on his route, which is pretty fun. And my mom, Doreen, she was the office manager for, or the administrative assistant for David L. Mooney, an accounting firm here in town, who is also run by my godfather, John Goff, who's a Rotarian. And then I have one sister, Stacy. She is 6 years older than me, and she works in the insurance world, currently working for CVS Corporate. So I attended Marshall Elementary School, which is no longer an elementary school, but I have the most fond memories of my childhood there. It's the school that's located right across from Eureka High. And then I went to Zane and then graduated from Eureka High in 1999. So there's a little bit about my upbringing. Uh-oh, how do I make it go to the next? There we go. I stuck around Humboldt. When I first started in college, I wanted to be a math major, and I did 3.5 years of a math major at Humboldt State before I switched to recreation administration, which my parents weren't super thrilled about. What kind of job prospects does that bring? But I really learned in that degree leadership and communication and marketing. And those are all transferable skills that you can bring into any career. And so I've been really happy with it. And then you'll learn in a second that I work at Humboldt, but I utilize the employee master's program where I was able to get a master's at a discounted rate. It also meant that I did it at a slower pace than everybody else. I finished all my coursework in 2012, and like many people and many stories, I did not finish my thesis until 4 years later. I was really, really, really good at putting that off and finding excuses. So I graduated in 2012, but oops, the actual record is 2016 when I turned my thesis in. I'm not married, I'm single, and I don't have any kids, but I'm the godmother to 4 beautiful, beautiful children. So on the left there, that is Gina. She is a woman I was a nanny for when she was a teenager and I was in college. And I've continued to be family with her my entire life. And she has 2 kids, James and Maya. And then my best friend there on the right-hand side, April, and her 2 kids, Victor and Svea. And Svea was the first kid in my life and very special to me. And I have a promise to all the kids that when they turn 10, I'll take them anywhere in the US for a trip, And when they turn 20, I'll take them anywhere in the world for a trip. And Svea this year turned 10. And unfortunately, her trip was planned for the second week of COVID. So we were going to go to Hawaii. She really wanted to swim with dolphins. And that bottom right-hand corner picture is us having a virtual luau on the day that we would have been landing in Hawaii. So these kids, I would do anything for. So professionally, I work up at Humboldt State. I was right out of college. I worked at a youth camp, Triumphant Life youth camp out on Highway 36 as the executive director. And then I became an admissions counselor, and I thought it was the coolest job because I could travel and HSU would pay for it, and I could brag about HSU, which I do anyways, and I just thought it was the best job. That's also where I met Romy. And so I had a great time at admissions. I learned so much about the university and then moved on to be the assistant athletic director in 2011. I did all of our game management, close to 86 events a year, all of our game management and fundraising and corporate partnerships. And then I moved on from athletics to become the director of alumni relations, which is where I am now. And I had a little stint being the interim director of admissions, but alumni is really where my passion is at. And I have so much fun getting to meet people and figuring out new ways to engage folks with the university. I am definitely a lifer at Humboldt, most likely. So, yeah. So a little bit about me and my interests. Anyone who knows me knows that I love San Jose Sharks hockey. So if anybody ever wants to watch a game, I can't remember if I think there's TVs up at Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot will become a hockey fan and I can come watch games up there. But I drive down to San Jose 5 or 6 times a year to go to games. So if anybody is into that, just let me know and we can carpool. I'm also really passionate about scuba diving. I had the chance to go on a trip to Galapagos in 2013, and I just snorkeled and I saw so much sea life. I came straight home and got certified, and then I continued to hang out with the group of people I got certified with, and now I teach with them. So those top pictures are a couple of pictures of classes that we've certified. The one on the right, we literally certified the first weekend of March. And then a cool one down there, the guys that I dive with are also commercial divers. So occasionally I get to put on a helmet and do a different type of diving than most recreational divers do. I know there's lots of divers in the group, which is fun. And then my third passion is just traveling, trying to go all over the world. So quickly, this first picture is a picture of me on top of the wall in Dubrovnik. I have got my Los Bagels mug there. I did that purposely so I could get on the wall in Los Bagels, and that picture is up there somewhere in the Arcata store. For all you Harry Potter fans, there I am in England at the 9 3/4 platform, and a picture of my family at the Jameson Whiskey Factory. We're all having a whiskey tasting. Last year I traveled to Belize, and that's me with my friend Alon and our guide Dora at some ruins. This is the only Halloween costume I own. I stumbled upon the International Yodel Festival in Switzerland and had to join in the festivities with everyone and look the look. So I bought a traditional dress there. And then there's a picture of my family in Peru. We went to Machu Picchu on a trip. This is one of my all-time favorite trips. We got the opportunity to go to Zimbabwe and Botswana and Zambia and Namibia. And this was at a school in Zimbabwe that the company we travel with supports. So we got to meet the children, bring supplies for the school, and they were just wonderful. A silly picture of me there in the middle, lying down with all the Galapagos sea lions. It was incredible how the animals are not afraid of you and don't run away because they don't know humans as harmful, which was really wonderful to be around, really peaceful. And then a funny picture, a couple years ago, I went diving on the Red Sea, and we went and stayed a couple extra days in Cairo, and our tour guide really wanted to get us a picture of touching the top of the pyramids. But why Rotary? Really, a huge part of why Rotary is Romy. So Romy has been a very dear friend, and she has loved her time in Rotary and has always said, so is this the year you're joining Rotary? And I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful to be in Arcata Sunrise and have a lot of fun with you all. I'm super committed to the international service and have seen the effects of Rotary when I've traveled. And I think that is really special and something I definitely want to contribute to, as well as the commitment to youth exchange. So that bottom photo there is a picture of me at age 16 on my first exchange, and it was through my church at the time, to Japan. And so that is what sparked my love for travel and my love for people in different cultures. And so I love that Rotary is also committed to that. And then also commitment to community service. Do anything we can to improve our community and the people we live with, I'm definitely all about. So there you go. A lot of info in a little bit of time, but hopefully, Maggie, we are still on schedule.
Brava, brava. That's great. Thank you. So we are going to, and I don't know why it does this. Oh, here we go. One thing we don't have the ability for me to do is to stand and lurk closer and closer to our speakers when I need them to stop speaking. So I don't know how to go about doing that, but that was awesome, and we'll figure it out. Can you see your blue badge, Stephanie? Can you guys see that? There you are. So thank you. Stephanie is now officially a Blue Badger, an active member of our club. Let's all give her a round of applause for making it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we've got a bunch of opportunities to share. However, we don't have a bunch of time. Today is a tight schedule, so I'm going to just flip through these. Tomorrow, if anyone wants to join me at the garden, that's happening. And we have, Sarah, we have, you and Vicki are here to share with us, but we really can only spend a few minutes on this today. We can certainly do more in the future, but did you have slides or any pictures you wanted to share with us, Sarah?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let me do this and go ahead.
Okay.
And I'm going to, I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to, cut you guys off. So show us the good pictures.
I can be really quick.
Great, go for it.
So this is an orphanage in Thailand, and there's about 42 people, 36 school age. Last year, the year before, Rotary Sunrise donated some money so we could get some uniforms. Well, during COVID, they usually make their money by selling stuff at their bakery, their thrift store, car wash, and coffee shop. Everything was quarantined, so they weren't able to make enough money to buy food and water. And of course, their pump broke. And so the village elders stepped in and donated some water, but of course it was non-potable and really dirty, so they could use it for bathing. And some of it was used to go in the fish pond because somebody donated some catfish that they put in this pond over here, and then that pump broke. So then Vicki reached out to me because she knows that Rotary's committed to helping people access fresh water and helping different kinds of communities throughout the world. And so I brought it to the World Community Services Committee to see what we could do. And we ended up gathering together $2,500 to donate to, I don't know how to pronounce it, this orphanage in Thailand. Bon European? Bot. Okay. So yeah, we sent the money over and they got water. So now they have fresh water going to the orphanage that other community members can access so that they can take baths and drink water. There's a couple kids playing in the mud. I had one of a kid in a bathtub. It was really nice little freshwater bath, which was probably the first time they were able to do that for the baby there at home. So was that quick enough, Maggie?
That's amazing. And the picture of I'll find that picture of the kid in the bathtub and send it out to people, because it just shows you what clean water looks like. And the I don't know how happy the kid was to be being bathed, but it definitely was a very sweet picture. So thank you. That was great. Thank you everybody for stepping up. It was one of the situations where we were asked early on to do something and we didn't have the money in our account. So kind of one time only, different people stepped up and put some money toward that to make it happen. But we've got our fundraisers coming up, so we won't have to do that anymore if we can raise our funds. And so thank you, Vicki, and thank you for bringing that to us. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing the pictures.
Can I say something very briefly?
Sure.
Very briefly. I've had a wonderful experience with Rotary in Thailand because of you guys. So when you guys donated some money for school uniforms before, you asked that I go to the Rotary meeting there in Thailand, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to know anybody here, and it turned out I actually knew two people. One
Vicki, we're not hearing you very well.
30 years ago, and he started coming to work just because I did that, and then Rotary. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I can't fix it.
Okay. Well, come back when we can fix it and talk to us. Now that we're virtual, you can drop in anytime.
I don't know how to fix it. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So we've got two fundraisers coming up right now. This next in August, one is our yard sale and the other one is a summer scramble. Claire, are you here today? Anything you need to tell us about the yard sale?
Claire's actually out of town and doesn't have Wi-Fi access at the moment.
Okay, yes.
So we are underway with all of our preparations for the virtual yard sale arranged. So all we ask of the club members this weekend would be a great time to scour your garages and homes and all of the places that you might have special items stored that you just don't use anymore or think could go to better use from somebody who could purchase that to help fund some of the great things we're trying to do with our club with no money. So do take a look this weekend and send it as indicated to Stephanie or Claire, and we'll get that up on the site and ready to go for the August 1st virtual sale.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Ian. And you know, everything we make is money made. So don't feel necessarily like, you know, anything you can donate that is other than clothing and shoes and things that you think would, that you once loved, maybe someone else will too. Let's give it a go. We're committed to doing this regardless of how many items we have. It could be a test run for us to get some kinks out if we don't have a lot of items and see how it goes. And I just haven't found another piece of wonderful luggage that I'm donating. So yippee-yi-yay. Thank you. Now, let's see, I could not get the PDF in there, so let me do this. But Dustin, do you want to talk about the
Sunrise Scramble?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oops. Yes.
Great. So August 29th, we have the Arcata Sunrise Scramble, first annual. What this is a super fun golf tournament. For those of you who don't know, a scramble is best ball. So you only need one good or mediocre, golfer on the team to have fun out there, and you can always use their ball. But what it is $75 per person, 4 per team. So it's $300 a team, $500 for business sponsors, which gets you a player pack, which includes all kinds of little cheats and things to make your score better. The way we've designed it, it's kind of like going to Chuck E. Cheese, where each hole, the better you do, the more tickets you get. And then at the end of the day, you put your tickets into one of 3 raffle prizes to see if you can win. What we'll be doing is announcing the winner on YouTube and send that link out to everyone who participated in, so it can still be kind of a fun surprise, just so we can keep it COVID safe. We have 3 great prizes: a Traeger barbecue, fully loaded. It's going to be valued around between $800 and $1,000. And then Brian and Brandon are actually making a little backyard bar that Vanessa's going to stock. So we're going to have a stocked, nice little backyard bar, and then a $1,000 cash prize. So we have more info on the Facebook page Melinda created, and we're going to have our flyer updated too. We'll send all this information out. You can direct anyone who's interested to Melinda or I, through those emails, or you have other contacts for us. That's fine. And we'll go from there. You can also reserve a spot on Facebook too, and let people know that if you want to just direct them there, that's the easiest. So I know last week, Brandon, we talked about asking the club for a bottle of wine. We're hoping to shift that and ask it, and we're asking everyone that can to please donate $25. What that'll do is give us enough money or get us in the ballpark for the $1,000 prize, and then have enough to stock the bar. And so that's that. It should be a super fun event, and we're going to need a lot of volunteers. For those of you who feel comfortable volunteering on the golf course, Brian Plumley is going to put that together and get a volunteer list out soon. Whether it's you or a friend or a family member that feels comfortable, we could use you. So that's that. And thank you, Maggie, for your time.
That's great. Thanks, Dustin. So we could all Venmo, if you want to do it quick, you can Venmo $25 to the club, and then that just put Scramble on that, and then that will help us out with that. And usually, just some of you who are newer to the club, what we typically do when we do fundraisers is we ask club members sometimes to sell tickets or to donate auction items. So $25 is usual, is like kind of a good amount for some of that, and this makes it really easy to get that done. If you're not able to do it, don't do it. If you're able to do more, do more. And it's all good. So if that doesn't work with your finances right now, don't sweat it. And if you can do a little more, that's awesome. Thanks, Dustin. Also it's up on Facebook, so there's an announcements about it. So if you find that, share it with everybody you know, and especially people who like to golf, and that'll be awesome. Thank you. So it's going around to different screens here. Let's pick a screen. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, let's pick this one. I'm waiting for someday to share something with you really inappropriate, and then I keep saying, wait a second, I don't have that kind of stuff on my computer. How could that happen? So I want to do the raffle first before we go into our presentation, so we're not sitting there going, oh, we forgot the raffle. So are we ready to do the raffle now, Nick? I know I sprung that on you. Are you ready to roll with that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Great. So, Dustin, can you do a drum roll? I don't know.
Let me try. Let's see here.
There we go. That was pretty good.
And our winner is AJ.
Woo! AJ.
AJ. Yeah, sorry. My
this is fixed.
Stuff. Yep. Let's see.
I'm feeling
the 1 in 8 chance of pulling that blue ball up. $5, AJ. I'll pay you on Venmo. Next week it's $200. And it'll be down to a 1 in 6 or 1 in 7, something like that.
All right, wonderful. So thank you. So now I'm going to end the slideshow there, and I'd like to introduce our first presenter, who is Dr. Doreen Spoor with the Arcata House Partnership. And she has, there we go. She has, I put this in here and I also emailed it to you with the email. So quite a long resume of activities and services that she's been providing to communities for a few years. And we're really very fortunate to have her right now at Arcata House Partnership. So I invited her and also Jeff Davis from the city to talk to us a little bit about what they're doing around homeless issues and how COVID has made it more different and how so, and also what we might be able to do to help. So what I want to do today is if you have questions for Darlene or for Jeff, if you could put them in the chat box, and then we'll be looking at them and trying to sort them out. We also can, if they're able to stay a few minutes afterwards, if people want to talk to them a little more, ask more questions after the official meeting ends at 8, you know, I'm sure they'd be happy to stay a few extra minutes and chat with us. So I want to make that opportunity available so that people feel like they have time to ask these questions and they have time to do their presentations. So, so with that, we're going to start with Darlene. And Darlene, let's turn it over to you.
Great. So when it's time, give me a little hand signal or something. You know, Darlene, you have like 30 seconds left and wrap it up, and I'll be fine with that.
Yeah,
Thank you all so much. The reason I've had such an opportunity to do so many things is because I've been around a long time. And most of my life has been about service. And so I'm really honored to be here at Arcata House Partnership. My husband and I moved here in 2015 to retire. Well, that didn't work out for me. So here I am serving in another way. As you know, Arcata House Partnership is the area homeless services provider. And although our agency name is a misnomer, we serve countywide. We have the only 24-hour low barrier shelter. We manage the permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing programs, long-term rapid rehousing programs for the county, for Humboldt County, not the county offices. And we do outreach for the entire county. Things have really changed since the COVID virus has come to us. I want to talk a little about the change, not about who we were, you know, in March, but what happened in April. We got the word that it was time to shelter in place, and with over 1,400 people who don't have a place to shelter in place, like many organizations, we quickly revamped what we were doing so that we could help people have a place to shelter in place. The exciting thing about that was, for years, people have been talking about alternate ways to provide shelter. And we suddenly were faced with, we don't have time to keep discussing this opportunity. And so the city of Arcata allowed us to open 2 tent lots, emergency tent shelters. One was on 7th and G, and one was at the transit station. We quickly, with the help of the Emergency Operations Center, got tents and blankets and sleeping bags and cots for people who were older, and set up 2 lots. We were able to put people there to feed people. And at our largest number, we had about 65 tents, which gave us about 82 people that got to have a place to be and to start to shelter in place. It was reasonably successful, and it's still going. What we have been able to do is move a lot of those people onto either what some of you have heard is Project Room Key, which is the governor opened some hotel rooms for people who are most vulnerable. So some of the people we worked with in the tent lots who were older and met some really strict criteria for health concerns, we were able to put in a hotel excuse me, some people, we moved to our regular shelter program, and other people moved on just because there were rules and they weren't ready to follow some of the rules. The reason I think that that was reasonably successful is because we didn't just open a campsite. We said, here's a program, and if you want to be part of that program, it's part of Arcata House Partnership and part of our continuum of service, and you are welcome to be there with the goal of being permanently housed, because that's what Arcata House Partnership does. So I want to talk to you a little about what that meant for us. So since April 8th, we provided, let me say what a bed night is. A bed night is one person having a place to sleep for one night. We provided 3,005 bed nights for people sleeping in tents. That means 3,005 nights, not nights, but people nights. Somebody didn't have to sleep on the street. They had a place to be. They had access to bathrooms and washing facilities. They had 3 meals a day, and they had access to our staff. In addition, we have some rooms at the Days Inn, which is part of the Governor's Room Key project. And to date, we've had 2,048 bed nights there for people who were most at risk, people who were over 65 and had chronic health conditions. Between those and the regular feeding that we do anyway, out through our annex and our one-stop, since April 8th, we have provided on the street almost 22,000 meals, which is really taxing us because, you know, that's an awful lot of meatloaf and rice and sandwiches and breakfast food to provide. The reason that we've been so successful in our feeding program is because, unfortunately, other people have had to close their businesses. So restaurants have been very generous at donating their food to us. And so if any of you are part of that, thank you for that. Your food and the food that restaurants donated went toward feeding those 22,000 meals. That's been really important. We've changed our shelter. The governor is challenging us to not have congregate living anymore. So we immediately closed our family shelters, consolidated out at our Boyd Road location, where we had 24-hour staff so that people could shelter in place and everyone could be safe. We've since placed everyone except for 5 people in permanent housing, and they'll all be housed this week. And then I'll give staff a minute to breathe because everybody has just been working so hard. And then we expect in 2 weeks to move everyone from the tent lot that's at the transit station out to our Boyd Road location. So we purchased the other house that's out there that we've been renting for a long time. We're finishing renovations now to make it accessible. We'll have 4, 5, 6, 7 people in that building. As you know, there were some trailers that got donated by Camping World to the county, which were sitting in the lot at the library. Those are for serving people who are homeless and having them, giving them a place to be. So we've moved them to our Boyd Road location, and we'll be using those out there. And we've changed our main shelter out there from 20 beds to 16 beds to provide more social distancing. We've changed our routines for everything. We don't feed everyone all at once now. We stagger people. Our staff and clients all have masks and gloves and safety protocols in place that are, I call our enhanced universal precautions now. We're not, the annex and the one-stop is not open to the public, but all of those services happen through a window. We have outside showers, we have porta potties and hand washing stations around the city. And so we've just moved quickly to make some changes. We continue to offer the food pantry. We're serving more people than ever at our Wednesday food pantry, which is at the Trinity Baptist Church. Our one-stop and outreach program is now out of the building, but we continue to serve probably around 85 people a day that way. Our family shelter has been so busy, and we've seen more and more people fleeing domestic violence. We know that that's one of the crimes that's really up as people are all sheltered in place and can't get away from each other. The domestic violence reports have really increased. Our adult shelter program is serving more people than ever. And recently we opened a senior shelter program because we've been getting far too many calls from people over 70 who are homeless and becoming homeless for the first time. And that was pre-COVID because of their expenses, and now it's even worse. We continue to provide permanent housing. We have been successful at bringing in more housing vouchers, and we're housing more people at record numbers. Unfortunately, we're benefiting because HSU students' numbers are down, which means we have access to more housing units. So we've been able to serve our most needy population better because of the COVID restrictions, because restaurants have closed and we've gotten their food, and because there's more apartments available, because the university has less students. And so for all of you that are suffering because of this, thank you. I don't like to benefit on the backs of other people's pain, but unfortunately that's kind of where we are. We're working really hard. I'm part of the Continuum of Care, the Humboldt Housing and Homeless Coalition. We're working really hard to get some legislation so that we don't get more people who are homeless. We're trying to increase the tenant protections so that people who can't afford to pay their rent right now are protected, and not at the cost of landlords. Many landlords are here. Thank you. But because we are trying really hard to bring in money to tenants so that they can pay the landlord, so the landlords can pay the banks, so the banks can do their thing, and everyone stays housed and everyone gets their income. So we're working really hard on the legislative side as well to bring more money in for housing, to bring more money in for protections for people who have lost their jobs. We don't want more people becoming homeless. So we're working really hard there. And we've brought in a lot of money for food and feeding people. So all of that couldn't happen without the amazing support of all of you, of the businesses locally, and certainly of our local elected officials. I will stick around for questions, but for me, my head is spinning. I've never worked harder. Our staff have never worked harder, and we're grateful to be here.
Thank you so much for giving us that update. It is really important work, and it's really hard work and really challenging work right now. And our club certainly, has been a supporter of your organization, and, just keep letting us know things that we can do. And I think that's one question. I don't see any questions in the chat yet, but that is one question that I want you to think about. And then we're going to go to Jeff, but so we can come back after he presents. But how can we as a club support you in terms of volunteer efforts and even financially when we have some money coming in again, but think about how we can really support your efforts in different ways. Thank you so much. So we're going to now go to Jeff, who will talk a little bit about what's happening in Eureka, because their Uplift Eureka program is doing some unique things as well. So Jeff, you go ahead. You're on.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for the invitation and allowing me to be here this morning and with you all. We do have a video that we just recently released. It's about a 10-minute video, and I could send out the YouTube side for that one, the YouTube link, to kind of give you an idea of kind of the different community partners that we're working with and some of the response to COVID that we've had. But I guess I'll start off with kind of the origins of this program. So the City of Eureka, about 5 years ago, started a program called the Community Access Project for Eureka Cape. And it was mainly focused on serving underprivileged youth, providing scholarships for different programs. And we really had a focus on improving the quality of life of the members of our community. And, you know, that was when the department was Parks and Rec, and you know, swing sets and kickball only go so far. We're kind of looking at the root cause of how do we improve the quality of life. So we started some programs, one called Pathway to Payday. It's a job workshop series, and then really started developing programs for folks who wanted to get back into the workforce, and that we had a lot of success with that. And then that program we kind of took and designed some other components and kind of put that all together as for Uplift Eureka. So we have a job readiness program called the Job Skills Training Program, where we have folks that go out into the community. They perform in Eureka. They perform city beautification projects. They do trash removal, graffiti removal, trail maintenance, and and there's a lot of trainings too, whether it's safety or proper use of personal protective equipment, or quite a few proper lifting techniques, things that can boost their resumes and get them more prepared for the workforce, giving them the confidence and the experience, and really small things like community members thanking them for going out and picking up trash really goes a long way to kind of to build that confidence. And so when we paired that up with the Pathway to Payday, we had a lot of success getting folks back into the employed, back into the labor force. And then recently we have created a housing assistance program. And then thanks to grant funding and all of, I think everything that we do besides there's 2 staff members or within the general fund, everything else is all through grants. We've been able to house quite a few people permanently, and then we also have housing support specialists to provide them with those supportive services to keep them housed, to prevent them just sliding back into homelessness. And we were able, through some Measure Z funding, to hire on a couple outreach workers, homeless outreach workers that are in the community, going to where folks are, connecting them with resources, and really building that trust building, that community building. And that's been pretty successful in a short amount of time that they've been out in the field. And they really, it all ties back into improving the quality of life of our community members. And so when COVID hit, we had to kind of redesign everything. Our Pathway to Payday, sometimes we have 50 people in one room. We can't do that anymore. We have another program, the co-pilot program, where we have community volunteers that we recruit, train, and vet, and are kind of experts in all local resources. And they would have one-on-one meetings for about an hour a week. We had to suspend that. We had to suspend our job skills training program. We weren't allowed to have 8 people in a van and drive around the city to do beautification projects anymore. So when the COVID outbreak occurred, we had to temporarily suspend some of our programs. And by the way, some of them are being slowly re-implemented with safety protocols in place. But we really shifted to supporting our community members, supporting our community partners. So we've always we've continued the housing program even throughout the pandemic. But so we shifted our resources, and we have been spending a lot of time down at the St. Vincent de Paul. And that's a place where, so out of the point in time count says there's about 1,400 homeless community members here in the county, and about half of those are here in Eureka. And most of the folks that according to some surveys done by the police department, most of the folks that are homeless in Eureka go down and access services at St. Vincent de Paul. So we've had our outreach workers down there this entire time, but we have really focused on our staff going down there and helping out St. Vincent de Paul. When the outbreak occurred, they lost a lot of their volunteers due to, I think a lot of them were in the vulnerable categories. And so there was a point where they didn't understand, St. Vincent de Paul didn't think that they can continue to operate. They were short-staffed. There was a mandate for folks to wear facial coverings to be served the food. And they were in the process of having to shut down. So we got together with them and we launched a face covering donation program. Our community members donated, I think, over 1,500 face masks, so we put into place. So they didn't skip a meal. Throughout this entire outbreak, there wasn't a single meal service that was canceled due to it. We are there every day, 7 days a week, ensuring that folks have access to. There's hand washing stations. We're actually handing out a little mini hand sanitizer bottles. And these facial coverings so folks can access the food that are down there. We've been helping, initially we were helping prep the food, and I think one of the biggest challenges was to kind of modify the system to ensure folks could access this food and these resources safely. We had to implement spray painting little dots on the street about 6 feet apart so folks could maintain that social distance. We had a permit with the police department to shut down that street so folks could, since they weren't allowed to go inside to eat anymore because of safety concerns, we block off the street every single day. We set up chairs 6 feet apart outside so folks could have their meals outside and safely distanced. And it's really given us a great opportunity to I guess reach more folks and get to know them a little bit better. Sometimes this community building and trust building takes quite a while. It takes multiple interactions, and having a closer connection with those folks on a more regular basis has really been able to help us connect with them more and provide those services. And so it's still going on. We're still down there seven days a week. I'm assisting with that. We've been community partners with the Betty Chin Center for a while, and we work hand in hand with them on a variety of different projects. Also supporting the rescue mission. We've been a community partner with them for quite a while. And I think the biggest community partner we have right now is the county's Department of Health and Human Services. And I'm just really excited and pleased to see that relationship build and strengthen. I know in the past, it hasn't been the closest relationship. There has been a little bit of headbutting, but there really is a big change in going and the city and the county working more closely than ever in regards to serving our community members experiencing homelessness. Uplift and the home team are working hand in hand to get folks into housing. And we've been able to apply and receive multiple grants to allow us to continue these services, to do outreach, to house community members in need. And we really are focusing on the most vulnerable community members with some of the higher needs. And it's just been a great experience, a great opportunity. And it's something that we are continuing to grow. We are looking to add more staff. Thank you. We're looking to add more staff now, mental health mental health specialists and the behavioral health specialists to go out into the field and help folks provide those services where they are, not where we want them to go. And we're working hand in hand with the CSET team, the Community Safety Enhancement Team, which is run by the police department, and having these behavioral health and mental health specialists go out with the officers into the field. And we are looking at, we're currently developing a pilot program where there's going to be an alternate response team. So if there is a mental health or homeless or addiction issues, it's not going to be the police aren't going to be the first ones to respond to that. We're going to have our outreach workers. We're going to have mental health specialists. We're going to have behavioral health specialists, people that specialize in that area of need. And so that's a pilot program we're currently developing, and I look forward to developing that and better serving our community members in need. And I want to thank you all again for your time, and I'm here to answer any questions, and I can put my contact information out there, and I would love to speak to each and every one of you or anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you. And you know, it's such a struggle, and it's such a concern now to realize that so many people, because of COVID, are being put in a very tenuous position, and you know, and homelessness wasn't anything they thought would happen to them. And I think a lot of us are in that position. We don't think this can happen to us, but I think in this new world we live in, we don't know what can happen to us. And I think having these resources available to support not just the people who seem to be homeless as a more chronic situation, but to help prevent homelessness and help reach people before this happens. I think it's so important right now with so much that is going on. So so we have a question. One question we have is, are there ways for your clients to be tested? Do you guys encourage or help them get tested for COVID? Jeff, I want to ask you first, and Darlene also.
So no, so the city doesn't have like testing capabilities. So here in Eureka, out at the Redwood Acres Fairgrounds, there is a site out there. I understand that there is kind of a backlog out there, and that's really for folks who aren't sick, who don't feel sick, but that would like that test. If you are feeling sick, if you do. If you're showing symptoms and you want to be tested, you would call your healthcare provider. You would call either Open Door Clinic, your doctor, or the hospital. Testing is available. So if you're feeling sick, talk to your healthcare provider. Get tested that way. If you think you might be sick, you know, if you don't feel sick and you would like those testings, there is a site out at Redwood Acres Fairgrounds that you can go and schedule an appointment for testing.
Darlene?
And for people who we serve, because we have congregate housing, we have a program so that anybody coming into us who's being considered for congregate housing gets tested, and we isolate them for 14 days in locations around the county. And then if their test is negative and they're symptom-free for 14 days, we bring them into any of our programs. So we do get our people and our staff tested regularly.
Do we have any other questions for the folks that are here? I know there's been stuff in the chat about some things that we could do to help. I know it looks like Arcata House could use some help in their kitchen, and they're also looking for a maintenance worker. So any of you who like to fiddle about with stuff, why don't you quit your day job and go do this instead? I don't know, it sounds like you probably have to have someone full-time for that, or what you're looking for, but maybe there are ways that there's one-off jobs that we can help you with. I'm looking. So yeah, any other questions? If you have one, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask it. And if I want to, while you're thinking about that, I want to let both of our presenters know that we are, whoops, here we go. We are making a donation in your name to the Wheelchair Foundation. We work with them to help get wheelchairs to people around the world. It really makes a difference in the lives of people who don't have this. So in appreciation for both of your presentation today, we're going to be making those donations. And we really do appreciate your time waking up this morning and coming and talking to us about what you do and about what the needs are in the community. And I want you all to have a good weekend. This is my new philosophy. you know, better to try some things and have it not work than to not try things at all. So I just want to, thought I would share that. And if there's nothing else for the good of the order, we're right around 8 o'clock. I wish you all a happy weekend. And if you want to come get your hands dirty in the soil at the garden over there, there's a few of us going there tomorrow morning at 10. And if not, I'll see you all around the water cooler, so to speak. Please reach out to those people who are working on the fundraising projects and get involved. And if you can, send your money in, use Venmo, and we'd sure appreciate it. Let's make these fundraisers work for us. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.